Monster Hunter Rise is edging closer and closer to that delicious launch date on the 26th of March, so today we'll be ranking the previous generations as we close in on the debut of the 6th generation. What's up guys, it's the Hunter Project here. Welcome to my channel where you'll find Monster Hunter news, builds, playthroughs and everything in between. Be sure to smash the subscribe and like buttons if you do enjoy. Our goal currently is to reach 1,000 subscribers and the support has been unreal guys, so thank you so much for that, and don't forget to join our Discord community. The link is at the top of the description, and without wasting any more time, let's get right into the video. So, coming in at number 5, we have the first generation of games, which obviously includes Monster Hunter G, at least that was in Japan, and then we have Monster Hunter Portable, which was for the PSP. So, all of these are virtually the same game. The number 5 spot doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad set of games, but they are quite outdated. Now, of course, they are extremely old, so it makes sense that they are. But they did do so much right with the series that has led the franchise into growing into such an amazing and spectacular series we have today. And we are introduced to many fan favourites like Rathalos, who has been a series mainstay for forever pretty much, Vitalis, Plesioth. Nah, okay, I'm just kidding about Plesioth. It could go drown. Anyways, even though it is at the top of the list, it doesn't mean that it's a bad set of games. These were fantastic at the time and still are today, but of course as the games have progressed we've gotten more quality of life changes and the hitboxes have gotten better and so on. This was just obviously the original, so it's the most basic form of the franchise. Many may not know this, but we actually didn't have many of the fan favourite weapon classes like the gun lance or longsword, so this brings us on to our number 4 spot where these were introduced, Generation 2. So this is taking our number 4 spot, and this basically is the accumulation of Monster Hunter 2, Freedom 2, and then of course finally Unite, which was the pinnacle of the Generation 2 lineup. This is where my entry point was into the series, so I have major nostalgia for these titles, and all of them were fantastic entries and developments from the original. We got introduced to fan favourite Nagakuga, Yukanlos, which were both fantastic monsters. We also got the longsword, hunting horn and gun lance, as well as the bow, so a lot of new weapons were introduced into this game. For a game on the PSP, this was literally one of the most content dense and fun games on the system in my opinion. There was so much to do and had a very fun multiplayer, which was local co-op, but it was still good nevertheless. I myself used to play with my 2 brothers and one sister, and we made up the 4-man squad, which speaking about now brings back a lot of memories. Just a quick story, basically when I was in year 2, and I believe this is 1st grade in America, of course depending on where you live, you can do the conversion of what UK year 2 is for where you live, and basically I lied to my mum about school opening after the summer holidays, and this was all in order so I can go play Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, but then school ended up calling midday, and let's just say it didn't end well for me. Coming in at number 3 we have, pains me to say this, Generation 3. So this was also another big area of bias and nostalgia for me, but I just had to think about this objectively and what actually came into the series and had the biggest impact and pushed the series forward. So this is the generation where we were introduced to the controversial swimming capability, and also quick plug, be sure to check out my video on why underwater combat hasn't returned to the franchise since, and it will be in the top right corner, and yeah, so this generation introduces to the switch axe as well, which is an extremely cool weapon and had some epic attack animations. We also got quite a few iconic monsters debuting, such as Elatrion, Diamorales, Lagiacrus and many others. This was the first game that implemented online play the best at the time as well, at least on the Wii U version. Like, it was much better than the PlayStation 2's online support, and overall it was an extremely fun time in the Monster Hunter community and definitely a common favourite of the generations amongst many fans. So coming in at the number 2 spot, this may surprise a few of you, but we have Generation 5, aka Monster Hunter World and its Iceborne expansion. So Monster Hunter World was the first big push into getting the Western audience onto the Monster Hunter train, and World and Iceborne brought along so many new monsters and game mechanics to the franchise, such as Nergigante, Tobi-Kadachi Legiana, and the Clutch Claw, that's just to name a few. It also brought many quality of life changes that have really added to the fluidity of the game, as well as the open map layout to better the immersion, so we weren't having loading screens between zones like the previous games. We also got the biggest upgrade in terms of combos for each weapon type, and one of my favourites being the Savage Axe. Like, they did extremely well with implementing new combos for all the different weapon types. Like, another fan favourite being all the anime type attacks with the longsword. A lot of people really enjoy that just because of how you can chain a lot of the attacks together. And the maps were also much more fleshed out in terms of verticality and diversity, but this wasn't the first game to hit this mark, and I'm sure many of you know by now what the #1 spot is. Generation 4, being Monster Hunter 4 and Generations Ultimate. So the main game I am referring to that led the leap into the future, though, is Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, or Monster Hunter 4 in Japan, depending on where you live, because of course I'm pretty sure Japan got it earlier, and then we got it later, but we had the Ultimate version. So this is the game where I sunk into the franchise, and it went from top 5 to top 3 instantly. This is where Capcom first introduced the now standard map verticality and hunter style of traversal, where everything was much more fluid. We didn't have to jump and then pull ourselves up on many of the ledges. The hunter was easily able to fluidly, just realistically get up the cliff, like quickly, and this was great just for making the game a bit more user friendly, and especially like a lot of people, they don't want slow animations. We want quick movement, so we don't have to watch animations for 53 years. And we also got introduced to the Charge Blade Insect Glaives, which are now 2 fan favourites, and they were also extremely cracked in this game. Like, a lot of the speedruns you would see were with the Charge Blade just because of how powerful it was, and it is one of my personal favourites as well. I think it's probably tied between Charge Blade and the Greatsword, between my top 2 favourite weapons. We also got a bunch of new monsters such as Seregios, Tetsukabra, Brute and Molten Tigrex, and fan favourite flagship Gormagala. The story for this game was also loved by many, and it is clear as to why when you do play through this game yourself. This definitely rejuvenated the series' formula and deserves the #1 spot on this list. And just a quick Generations point, it did take everything 4's gameplay did so well and pushed it even further with tedious fixes here and there, and we also got quite a few quality of life changes added on before World's revamp. We also got the fan favourite Fated 4 flagships, as well as the Hunter Arts, which a lot of people did like, and they have implemented into Rise's new Silkbind attacks, which is awesome to see. And one final thing, Generations gave us one hell of a homage to the journey the franchise went on. This brings us to the end of the video, guys. If you did enjoy, be sure to smash the like, subscribe buttons if you haven't already, as we make our way to 1,000 subscribers. Be sure to join our Discord server, which is at the top of the description, and comment down below what your favourite Monster Hunter game / generation is. Let me know if I should do my favourite Monster Hunter titles as well, regardless of how much they added to the series. And other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.